You cannot no longer fool a fan by creating inauthentic moment marketing because they realize that this is a PR stunt and instantly they push back on it. And they are very vocal about it in the comment section.
Sound of Startups podcast is hosted by Taj, produced by Amplitude Ventures, your partner in early stage startups.
Hi everyone. Today I have someone from my home country, which I happened to meet him in Paris. He has risen from scratch, literally, and he has followed the traditional Indian path. What if you have to do anything in India? First, you have to do engineering, and then you have to decide what you want to do in life. That is a very typical Asian and South Asian setup, and this is what my guest has always done. Currently, he holds a very high position in a very interesting company. And For me, the most important thing when I heard him was the kind of belief he brought in his ideas and the conviction he was talking when I heard him. And it was not just simple number talking or just some high executive who just came and gave her just like a presentation. Whatever he said, he believed in it, and somehow that thing hooked me. That hey, somebody's music was speaking so good. Let's go and connect with them. And then we just had a fine conversation, and I ended up meeting this young, hardworking, sincerely genuine, and working with one of the most interesting music markets in the world, India. Welcome to Roochay. How do you say, Roochay or Roochay?
Roochay, yeah. Right.
Yeah, I was trying to read it French.
There are many pronunciations, but yeah.
Yeah. So we have Roochay Shukla, and I think so he's the best man who to introduce himself. Few words about you.
Thank you so much. Hello everyone. As Taj said, my bro, my bhai, from back in my homeland, somebody whom I instantly connected during my recent meet, and here we are. Such a good opportunity to really speak to everyone. But yeah, I've always been an avid music marketer. Literally, that's the best thing or the only thing that I can really talk about, and I can proudly talk about. And I'm really passionate about what this industry and what this field has given to me. So currently, I hold the position of head of creative marketing for Believe, which is one of the largest and leading music artist services division. We are the one artist global artist development company, and regional and Indian music is on the forefront of what our goals are. And we feel India to the world is now in 2025 all the more relevant. And I'm just happy to speak about where the market is going and everything that I've learned on in my life here. So Taj, I'm ready whenever you are.
Okay. So what is Believe? What does the company do?
So let me just break it down in simple words that distribution as a model is extremely important in the digital era where your music needs to be across platforms, right? We had the whole shift of from cassettes and CDs to vinyls, and then 2003 everything completely went into the whole rabbit hole of piracy. And India has been one of the leading piracy markets back in the days where 90 to 95% market was really consuming piracy-driven music. That was a time when companies like Believe really popped in, and they really streamlined the process of distribution. So Believe became, in a very short span of time, one of the biggest distributors of making your music reach every door across the world via their direct deals with all the DSPs. DSPs, let me just break it down, is your digital streaming providers for platforms like Spotify, YouTube, Apple, and etc. And then you also want to make sure that the digital download era was catered to, which is what iTunes happened. and the music started popping out there so that you could buy that track at a very nominal fee of it. And from that time, it's been 11 years now for Believe in India. Literally one of the earliest um, kind of first mover advantages, and it started making investment into a country like India, which houses 1.4 billion population, of becoming one of the biggest and the highest populated country in the world. And it caters to music for all the languages, across the languages. uh, in two simple sentences, Believe is by the people and for the people, which means that this is extremely catering to local music made by the local musicians, local artists, and to empowering local artists to really make sure that they can have all the freedom in the world to make music in their own languages. Again, just as a context, India officially has 22 official languages on paper, and it also caters to close to 800 to 900 dialects, where you can say, we always joke around by saying that if you move 100 kilometers, the language changes. And that's exactly what happens in a country like this. So Believe has been a really great way, or as a gateway for musicians to make their music reach the fans. And also, just to add here, majors have always existed and they will always exist, but there's a coexistence that happens now by Believe, which means that it just not distributes music but also markets your music as additional services become all the more important. So we are all about empowering independent artists.
So basically, there is, if I have to break down in an easy word, there is a mainstream music industry and then there's an independent music industry. For mainstream, you have record labels, you have major big companies, and then for those independent ones or the companies like Believe come in and then they do the whole job, and in a much more efficient way, and they bet on bigger, smaller artists, independent artists, and make them much more successful.
Right. So, to also give you furthermore context on the term of what you used, in India, Bollywood is something which is worldwide recognized, as you know, and as everybody knows. But we like to call it film music and non-film music.
Oh,
Now, pandemic really accelerated the non-film music because a lot of the films were under a halt, and the cinema halls were deprived of releases. And that is exactly why the term non-film music became all the more popular after 2020, which is all about music that can be as big as of a Bollywood music or like a film music, but also it caters to a extremely wide genres and languages. So it's language agnostic, genre agnostic, but it is a music where it's crafted by anybody or any individual who wants to put out in their own style. And we cater to this pie of non-film music the most.
interesting. I think so. There's some context that I need to set up for the European audience. Okay, so India is an interesting market. Is an interesting country. There are at least 6 to 7 big regional film industries, and the typical narrative of Indian film industry is that there has to be a narrative, and the narrative in that narrative, song or music is one of the most important part. Music is an integral part of moving a narrative of a film ahead. And so the songs in the films are indispensable. Unlike in Europe, where you see films do not have any songs, where in India there cannot be film without a songs. So film songs are narrative, part of the narrative, and that's why it becomes very important to explain to the audience that there is something called film music and there's something called non-film music.
Just to add that, Raj, if I may, you rightly said, and that is a big pain point, because you talked about singers like Shan and all of those golden era of, Sonu Nigam, Udit Narayan, Alka Yagnik from the 90s. And the biggest kind of a pain point there was that because the music was a part of film, essentially, film music always had the actors lip syncing to the song.
Yes.
So they were literally the playback singers, which is
Yeah.
the whole term of playback singers came into picture.
Yeah.
And which is why it was a big problem to really recognize um, the people behind the voice, right?
Mm.
Because they always thought the actors are singing it, because it's always how projected in the film. And what really pandemic did is it really gave an identity to each of those artists, where they became the heroes of their own music.
So, what do you do yourself? What is your role in Belief? How did you start your career there?
So as I initially said, that for me, music marketing comes first. As like, for me, it is always about, I always ask this question: how do I be of value to the artist? The artist has done their job by creating a beautiful product. It's a baby to every artist, because every song, EP, album needs to be treated like that. It's so up close and personal. Somebody needs to come in and really give, the nourishment of it, and kind of give an identity to that baby. And I think that's what makes music marketing so interesting, because I get to really shape the personality of these artists and their music by giving the right kind of look and feel, making sure that we can find the right kind of partners on ground, be it creators, influencers, giving the right kind of messaging, what their branding is about via PR and radio and TV. And then at the core of everything, it is the digital presence. We live in an era where everybody's born on Instagram, or born on TikTok, or born on YouTube. There's no TikTok in India, by the way, FYI, since June 2020. So we do not focus on that at all. Good thing, bad thing, there are arguments around it. But what essentially that means is digital presence is what really shapes an artist's DNA. And I get to be working on the strategies and on the release planning of it. I always believe every song has a journey. Every music needs to really reach the right kind of audiences. And for us, that's most interesting. We really cater to a target audience, what that music is about. India is now home to almost incredible, huge pool of listenership. We are a market where YouTube predominates or dominates largely on a contextual basis. Almost 465 million plus active users just on YouTube. So you can imagine the number of people that are consuming video content on YouTube. Whereas on the audio side of it, we are still getting to almost 200 to 220 million audio active users. And that is something which is really exciting as a market. Not every market is for everyone, which is what becomes extremely important, that we do not feel that every music needs to reach everywhere. Obviously, it's a dream scenario, but what I get to be in a position is really making these subsets and sub-communities and subcultures of making sure that the music reaches them. And that is the fun place and the fun journey of crafting creative solutions and creative strategies behind it.
So now coming back to the entrepreneurship side of music, are you seeing a new startups coming in the music space in India? Or still market is not mature yet?
I would say there are early movers. Right now, we are seeing a load of... There are two things happening. One is it's creating spaces for new tech platforms, music side of tech platforms to come in and start taking up opportunities on the additional revenue side of things, which means sync and licensing and publishing. There is a huge time still left for India to be matured on that side of things. But we are seeing that the market has started having at least an intention of understanding what opportunities lie there. To give a context there, India was, or largely as per the IFPI report from last year, India has been number 15th on the rank. So it's slightly dropped from 14 to 15. but the consumption has stayed the same. In terms of the revenue has stayed the same by a slight dip of 0.2%. The recorded business revenue has stayed the same. It's flatlined it, but the growth has come in
Oh,
on this
okay.
sync and licensing and publishing and live. And I think that's what is an opportunity for anybody who wants to create the startups there. So we are seeing that happening. Secondly, the market is maturing in terms of understanding the value of paid subscriptions, and that is the big need of the hour. And for that to happen, what will happen is a lot of the platforms will shut down or will larger go into the merger and acquisition. And we have started seeing that already. Wink Music has been shut down. Hangama Music has been shut down with its business. It's also started partnering in terms of Wink has started partnering with Apple in India. A lot of such things will pop up all the more in the coming months and years, as and when people start realizing how important it is to kind of focus on the paid subscription of the business. And that's a good problem to have, in my opinion, because it ultimately starts creating the value here. Spotify, for an example, has completely made sure that if anybody's into the freemium model, the user interface of freemium is completely different than what a user interface for a premium is. There are very limited options and rather features that you can access with freemium, because it largely is a very passive or a casual side of the listenership.
Talking about live, you have had fortune of working with some of the biggest names, Dua Lipa. I don't know, just biggest names. And can you name like few of the artists which you have just real international artists who you helped them market in India? And how was
Yeah,
working with them for India?
sure, Taj. Yeah, I truly consider myself blessed on that front, because I take that very, very seriously about what the industry and India has offered me. And I'm grateful that over the last decade of my experience in India, I have the great opportunities of working with Dua Lipa, Diplo, Major Lazer, Love, Jungle, Flume, Ed Sheeran, in fact, as well.
Yeah.
And I have created opportunities for them, but also making sure that there is a market for them now, which has just grown with the years and years. And I feel it gives me so much happiness that when I see every time they come to India now, it's a bigger market for them. It's a bigger audiences that they're catering to.
I mean, Ed Sheeran Sapphire has become a household name. I mean,
What a track.
I mean the Sapphire track, and I mean it's just like every young boy or girls want to hear Ed Sheeran.
It is a great thing for also keeping in mind how he has embraced India as well.
Yeah.
It's not just one track, right? Action is a classic example of how that dude has been touring India for the last decade and has had patience again and again, coming into India, understanding the cultural nuances, making sure that he has very rightly given back into the fans, uh, and in return he has just only received so much love and loyalty. And now it's a big proud moment for India to now see how Arijit Singh has been on his track now.
Yeah.
And it's the best thing that could have ever happened for Arijit as well as Ed Sheeran to come together on Sapphire. And the old relationship is so organic.
Do you think more such stuff will happen, or is it still like a one fluke shot by one artist?
It's already happening, man. It's happening so much. If we were to do this interview 1 month after this date, I have 3 other very big examples that I could have shared, which I can't share right now. But on the similar lines, we have had some massive collaborations coming up, and all of these collaborations is about Indian songs getting all the love by European artists, UK artists, American artists, Canadian artists. And now they are more and more excited to get on this track, which was not the case 5 years back, where it was always the other way around, where Indian artists was always on the lookout of how can they associate and collaborate with international artists on their songs. But the tables have turned. Um, Never we could imagine how an international artist could sing Indian languages. For example, there's a collaboration with Diljit Dosanjh and Sia, where
Mm.
Sia is singing Punjabi music in Punjabi, two lines in Punjabi. Similarly, Ed Sheeran and Arijit, Sapphire version of Arijit Singh has um, Ed Sheeran singing Punjabi two lines.
What has been your biggest learning from what you have not been able to do very well? As somebody who started this career building independent artist career, what's your biggest learnings?
Yeah, man. I mean, first of all, as long as there are big achievements and wins, which means that there are even more learnings and mistakes, and we all grow from that, right? So, 100% agree with you on that. There have been many. I think probably it needs a podcast in itself, another one. But I'm more than happy to share that because I think that has made me learn a lot and rise as well. So, one thing on the back of everything is that when you're trying to create a moment, I call it a moment marketing.
Okay.
Moment marketing is an extremely important part of a campaign. This is a campaign that can make or break things, but it definitely can make it in some capacity. But if it's done right, sky's the limit for it. And I think one such learning has come from me is that it needs to have the right kind of teams behind it when you're trying to create a content. And sometimes we try and make content not give too much importance. We always feel like, oh, theek hai, we have like a music video, we have a great song, we have a great artwork, we have created a big moment of two artists coming together or a creator coming together, and that's a big meet and greet. For example, I will kind of give you an example of it. I've created the biggest. I've been grateful for creating one of the biggest campaigns that we could for Dua Lipa by making her meet Shah Rukh Khan, and that was happening under one roof. And both of them had a tweet after that, and we were having a hashtag called Dua Lipa meets SRK.
So you okay, interesting. That's something interesting. That do you think we right now as a country, in terms of music industry, are we doing the right moment marketing things in general as industry?
It's getting better. I still feel there is a big gap when it comes to the moment marketing side of things. Only few people are able to do it well. Otherwise, sometimes it can get a lot force fit and it becomes not so organic. And the fans are smart enough, man. You cannot no longer fool a fan by creating an inauthentic moment marketing, because they realize that this is a PR stunt, and instantly they push back on it, and they are very vocal about it in the comment section. But the right kind of moment marketing is started happening all the more because there are many more opportunities of the artists to tour India and come together on ground as a presence, and B, internet has become a beautiful place of coming together and creating that digital relationship between the artist. The borders are broken, and now you can really create somebody who's not met for years and years or has never met can still be best of the friends or best of the fan and an artist relationship, which will keep flourishing on the internet and will really benefit out of the two together. So there are many ways to do all of that, and I think that has started to happen now with the borders and boundaries getting blurred.
This has been such a powerful discussion with you. And before we close, I just like to ask two questions. And the first is that, what is a piece of advice you would like to give for international music startups or international artists or international music businesses who want to come to India?
Wow. Yeah, I keep getting asked that a lot of times, and I would say that I'm not a big expert or like somebody who's just advising rather, but I can only talk from my experience as to what can really work for you. I think one thing that goes wrong is when the internationals only start seeing India with numbers. They know that India is a highly populated country and it's good, and obviously there is a huge population to cater to. But what happens is they fail to understand that when they see something in India and they just want to ride the wave by coming in and saying, if my one song has worked in India, let's start creating something now and I want to just capitalize on the moment. And it doesn't work that way. I think the investments need to happen much, much earlier. It's like if I'm based out of outside India and one song starts clicking good in India, and I just come one fine day and say, "Hey, let's work on a big campaign now for 2 months," and then the next 2 months you see that, yeah, you've forgotten about it. The fans notice that as like a opportunity that you are being capitalizing on. Instead, I feel now is the time. My advice is take that step. India is largely a very loyal country. The fans are extremely loyal. If you are making your indoors right now, patience is the number one thing. We'll need to be really, really patient in working in India because they take time in understanding what they're trying to do. But the moment they realize the value that you have created for them, always try and see the value proposition that you have for the market. If they understand, maybe it's a freemium model, maybe you give something for free and it works for you, maybe. But maybe if you try and put a price tag to it by making sure that they feel largely acknowledged and there is of value for them, that is going to be only onwards and upwards from there on, because the fans are going to hop onto it and they will feel all the love. It's not any more longer that India doesn't pay for music. India really pays for music as well. The live music is a big example. How Coldplay came in and really broke the shattered and records of it.
They broke everything. They came for one show. The government asked them to make 4 shows, I think.
Exactly. And similar thing is happening with this year with Travis Scott as well. He's come in for one show. He's already announced second show and both are sold out now.
Yeah.
So India does pay for music, but if you just need to be patient and create the right value proposition.
Let's see how the country goes. And I'm very happy the way we have people like you who have risen from literally very small towns, made it so big for themselves, contributed so much for the music, and have such a very nuanced and deep understanding of small things which are often not written in the books, are often not part of the case studies. And you can only do it just because you come from a very small place.
Yep.
And you work in a country which is so diverse, which has the biggest population in the world with so many languages, and each language is 2,000, 3,000 year old. So it's an ecosystem on its own. So I think it's a very powerful story. And thank you for being here. Thank you for making this country a beautiful place to listen to music.
Thank you, Taj. Thank you, everyone. And I only wish everyone to see what an exciting market Indian music is. And there is space for everyone to have their presence in India. So encouraging everyone to look at India where it is right now. And Taj, to you, thank you so much. More power to you, and may people realize the kind of content that you are really putting out for them. And thank you for really making such learnings accessible to everyone in the world. So big ups to you.
Thank you so much, and hope to see you next week.
See you soon.